Good afternoon. My name is John, and this is the Homestead Diary. What you are looking at is the nearly complete goat shed that will be for the male goats. We currently have two, and we're going to be getting a third. And you want to make sure that your male goats are kept separate from the female goats once they reach a certain age, because not only will they try to impregnate the females out of season, so to speak, when you don't want them to be impregnated, but they get rather aggressive about it, and they keep trying to impregnate them, whether or not they're impregnated, and that can hurt them. And so it's one of those necessary things to keep them separate. Another thing that we've heard is that if you have the male goats in close proximity to female goats that you're milking, then that can end up causing the milk itself to have that classic goaty flavor. And while I love that in my cheese, I don't like that in my breakfast cereal. And so we'll also keep them separate that way. Goats don't like rain, so obviously they need some sort of a shelter, and they can get out of the rain and the wind and the snow and all that stuff. But they are outside animals, and so they're accustomed to the temperatures as long as they can get some shelter in the wintertime. And so this structure is built on essentially pallets. I took some pieces and built a pallet-like structure where we've got pressure-treated 2x4s. There are 3 of them running along the bottom, and then little blocks to bring them up, and then 2x4s going underneath there as well on their sides for supports. We're going to literally be able to drag this around with a vehicle or whatever. Maybe someday if we have a skid steer, it would be able to pick it up and move it around. For now, the little backhoe that we have isn't quite up to that task, but we can still move it around pretty easily. I can go up on one side and lift it up and shift it around, so it probably doesn't weigh more than, I don't know, 300-400 pounds. So we've got 3/4 inch plywood in the bottom because goats have hoofs, and then it's about 5.5 feet high in the inside, and 8 feet long, 4 feet wide. You of course can see the hay feeder there. So we've been keeping goats and caring for goats off and on for the better part of a decade, and we always built these little hay feeders where you put a couple of flakes in it and shove it in there, and then a few days later you got to reload it. And it really speaks to our lack of detailed knowledge of farming when you figure that whole time we were working twice as often as we should, or 10 times as often as we should, because with this feeder, as you can see, you can fit an entire bale of hay, which kind of makes sense. Put it in there, shut the door, pop the rope on it, and they can go to town. But because of the grid network here with these 2x2s, they can't pull out entire flakes of hay. They can only pull out mouthfuls, and so that will decrease the wastefulness, because goats, hey, they don't care. They don't buy the hay. They just eat it. And so along the bottom here, we've got a 2-foot high panel of plywood, and that's mainly to keep the goats from kicking through or butting through or whatever. We have Nigerian dwarf goats, and so if we had alpines, we'd probably have the plywood all the way up to the ceiling, but I don't think it's going to be necessary in this instance. And so most of the structure was built using 2x2s. The main structural members are 2x4s, like the uprights and whatnot, and the floor pieces, but then we've got a lot of 2x2s in here. We just rip 2x4s down because saves on material, and then a single 2x6 up here. I'll step back from it for a minute so you can see the side profile. And so we are about 6 feet high here, and 6 feet along the roof line, and 4 feet here. And we chose those particular sizes because of efficiency of materials. Roofing panels and metal panels like this come in 8-foot sections and 12-foot sections. And so we were able to use 2 8-foot panels and 5 12-foot panels to sheet the entire thing, and have a structure that hopefully will last a really long time. And so I guess that's about it. I mean, it's not that exciting. It's a goat barn, but you know, it's been a fun little project to build. And hopefully the male goats will be kept happy and away from the ladies, except for when it's time to do their thing. Hope y'all have a blessed day.